All right. Game number 1 of our best of 3 TVT. Spawning in the upper left-hand corner of Gresvan, we have the blue Terran player for Team Liquid, Clem. And his opponent in the lower right, in the red for Mouse Sports, it's HeroMarine. The biggest of games. Once upon a time was unstoppable in these cups, but going up against Clem, that's a hard one. I will say, I feel like HeroMarine usually beats Clem in these cups. I don't know if that's based on truth or not. I wonder what the actual, like, score between them in Open Cups is. But I would generally say I feel like HeroMarine's TVT is better than Clem's. I think Clem tightened up on his TVT, but I still give it the big game. He's got some of the best TVT in the world. Should be a fun one between these two, though. We've had plenty of matches between them over the years. Clem's sending an SCV out to scout and see what's going on. I think he saw the factory going down. He knows exactly what he's up against, at least for the start. It's normal stuff. The SCV scout makes me think Clem is worried about a proxy. Or is he proxying? Questions? Oh my god, that Reaper, so close to seeing that SCV. Okay, the SCV is just here to hang out with the Reaper and be best friends with its Reaper so they can kill this Reaper together. You do things with your friends, you know? Like kill Reapers. Well, Clem gonna dive into the main base, but he will get pushed out by the 2 Reapers of HeroMarine. As HeroMarine decided to go for a second Reaper, and then he's gonna go into Marines. Probably a Cyclone. Could be a tank, though. But probably a Cyclone. And then Starport. Seeing Clem stay on these low-tech units a little bit longer, though. Getting a Hellion out. Getting a 3rd Reaper and a 2nd Hellion. Could try to put some pressure on with that. Friendly reminder to everybody out there who's joining maybe for the first time. Get to hit that cheeky follow button so you don't forget where this stream is. And if you're watching this on YouTube, because undoubtedly I will put this on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Because hopefully I'll be posting more of these European players. Clem gonna dive in here, sees the Cyclone, sees there's enough for Gabe to defend. Doesn't want to press his luck too much, decides to back up. HeroMarine going straight for the tech lab, so no aggression out of him, at least for the time being. Just going to chill and macro a bit. Speaking of aggression, though, Clem starport up a little sooner. He's got that medevac about to finish. Should be able to get some Marines and a Cyclone across the map to join up with these guys and maybe keep that pressure on. You really don't go for a medevac first unless you're planning to attack. Friendly reminder to everybody out there, if you build something, you gotta have a plan to use it. You know, it's not just about building up an army that wins in a fight. Sometimes you gotta have a very concerted thought about what you're gonna do with a unit. Medevac first, gotta be picking some stuff up, getting across the map. There is a tank out for HeroMarine. He's gonna try to dive in anyways. Clem though tanks the tank shot and then decides, actually, let's not go that way. Let's not go that way. And HeroMarine buttoned up in the main as well. The Cyclone here means the medevac really playing with fire if it tries to go in. Oh, he's gonna go for it. Locks onto the Reaper. A great lock-on target there for Clem. But the Cyclone of HeroMarine also didn't lock onto the medevac. And that's going to go down because of it. So this ends up being a really nice trade for Clem, assuming he can get out of here. Oh my god, he's going to try to get the Raven? Is he going to get the Raven? He gets the Raven. Does he get out of there? No! No! What? That's against the law. How did that medevac live? Oh my god. What? Clem pulling off the insane micro tricks that we expect from him. I thought for sure, like, there just wasn't going to happen. Auto turret goes down, trying to not take the tank fire, I guess. Going in between the two tanks, but I don't think it ended up getting too much done. That was insane. The fact that the medevac lived, I thought for sure medevac was dead, but maybe he gets the Raven before the Cyclone dies. Nope. All of it lives. Somehow, some way. He's just going to repair all this stuff up. Raven comes home after dropping that auto turret, and take a look at the trades. Very heavily favoring Clem because he didn't lose like any of that stuff. Crazy. Killing that Raven is huge as well. HeroMarine does build a second one, or I guess it was a third one, so he's got 2 out still. But Clem has all 3 alive. They're gathering energy. They have quite a bit of energy between the 3 of them. And he's going to start pushing out. Remember, he killed that Cyclone as well, which is a decent amount of the damage of these like smaller armies. HeroMarine does have 3 siege tanks. So Clem's got to be a little bit careful. Eats a tank shot. Oh, HeroMarine putting up sensor tower. I like the sensor tower here. He's going to immediately see there's an army right here, but it might be too late, as it looks like Clem's going to dive forward, tanking those shots with the light units that don't really matter, shuts down both of the siege tanks, gets sieged up in a beautiful position. He will kill one of these before the interference matrix wears off, kills both of them, and the third base, I think the third base is dead too. There's no SCVs here to repair it. HeroMarine's going to dive forward, try to save the base, or at least punish Clem for being here, but an anti-armor missile means those Marines just get smothered in tank fire, and Clem takes game number 1. Wow. I mean, a lot of that really is, and I know it maybe sounds wild off the back of that beautiful micro at the start. Keeping his units alive is really nice, but more than that, killing the Raven is huge. Killing that Cyclone is huge. That Cyclone might have been sitting out in the middle of the map waiting to see if there was a Clem push. But instead, HeroMarine just didn't have the units he needed to defend that. One more Raven, I think he's able to shut down all those tanks. Kind of insane. Game number 2 is coming up. We're going to Babylon. And that was interesting. I guess Clem overall has the win record over HeroMarine. Somebody in chat posted it. Is it like 147, 109? I don't know. I swear I saw. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Senju posted it. Clem 147, HeroMarine 109 in match score. That's kind of crazy. I actually don't think I would have expected that. But it has been a while since I've cast these guys. Maybe things have really changed in the last year since I've cast a lot of European StarCraft. I'm excited to be back covering it and learning just how good this kid is right now, because he seems to be unstoppable at the moment. It is Team Liquid's Clem. See if that fancy micro keeps him going. His opponent in the lower right-hand corner, one of the most solid players in Europe. It is Mouse Sports, HeroMarine, who, unless things have really changed, has still won more ESL Open Cups Europe than anybody else. In fact, I think he's won more Open Cups than anybody else. And I doubt that's changed. Gabe is... The incredible thing about him is his consistency. Like, we see how insanely good Clem can be. That micro was fantastic last game. Made some really good moves. Won a very solid game. But at different points in time, Clem has either been the best Terran in Europe or, like, the 3rd best Terran in Europe. It may not seem like a big difference, but it can feel like a lot. It can feel like a lot. Sometimes he'll go to a tournament and you'll be like, I think Clem's favored to get at least to the semis of a big, major tournament. All the best players. And sometimes it's like, I don't know if he's going to make it out of the group stage. And HeroMarine usually doesn't have that kind of inconsistency. You expect to see him in like a top 8, and he'll often make a top 8. He's just such a consistent player. And in an ESL Open Cup, you expect to see him in the finals, and a lot of times he'll make it. This one might be an exception, though. I will say I was a little surprised to see how low he was seeded in the tournament, that we're getting this match in a round of 8. This isn't even a semifinals. This is a round of 8. It feels very, very early. And it is because HeroMarine is seed number 7 today. And I feel like usually in these cups, he's like top 4, top 5. Just enough of a difference to give us a quarterfinals where one of these guys won't be making it to a semis. It's kind of crazy to think about. Did Clem go straight for Reactor? Oh, he did. So Clem went Reactor first. So he's going to have the double Reaper production out. So he's going to be going for very, very heavy Reaper Hellion aggression here. In a little bit. Right now he's just chilling in case HeroMarine decides to move across the map. HeroMarine, though, went for the Reactor after the first Reaper, so he's going to be getting a decent amount of Reapers out as well. This is interesting, though, the Widow Mine. This feels like he's thinking about Clem trying to bust up this ramp with Reapers and Hellions. And a Widow Mine can really mess that up. But Clem's got good enough micro, I feel like he can split and not take too much damage from this Widow Mine. That might still give an opportunity for HeroMarine to win a fight, though. Let's see, the Widow Mine can also do some friendly fire. Nope, it does not. It hits dead center of that army, damaging everything around it. And HeroMarine gets a nice little victory there. He must have target fired that Widow Mine onto the other Hellion. So he gets both Hellion kills, kills one of the Reapers, and Clem gets sent packing. Very nice early game for HeroMarine, who just lost one Hellion for that. Very nice. Other than that, game's pretty much even. And those are the early game units. Not really that big of a deal. But it puts a stop to Clem's aggression for now. Clem's going to have to wait for this medevac. Looks like he's going to just pick up the Marines. Just 3 Marines and run across the map with the rest of these units. All right, this is wild. Oh, man, but HeroMarine's moving across the map with the Widow Mine and the Marines. All of a sudden, we have like a really weird situation on our hands. HeroMarine doesn't have quite enough units to defend, but as the tank pops out, he absolutely does have enough units to defend. And Clem, he's just got to get out of here. But does he have enough units to defend this little drop? The Widow Mine, I don't think it got really that much of a kill. The lock onto the medevac, though, going to do a decent bit of damage before it gets out of there. I think HeroMarine's just got to run home with that half-health medevac. Looked a little wild, but I don't think it ended up being that crazy of a trade. Yeah, not like a ton lost here. Still in HeroMarine's favor, but it's about the same. That ends up being a relatively even trade. I think Clem lost a couple more workers. So this ends up being a little bit better of a position for HeroMarine overall. He's up in supply, has a couple extra workers, has a couple extra units. I think his tanks are earlier because there's still no tanks here for Clem. First one on the way. But HeroMarine nicely buttoned up. But does he have the defense in the main base? I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good last game, too. Let's see if Clem can do the fancy micro. He's seeing it. HeroMarine still hasn't noticed. Yeah, some fancy micro. Gets a couple Marine kills, but just trying to even up those trades a little bit. Anything you can get, right? Third CC on the way for HeroMarine. Clem. Oh, his is done already. He's just floating it out. Floating it out. Just turned into a Canadian there for a second. Oh, he's just floating it right out there. Sorry about that, eh? I want to apologize. Tomorrow What other Canadianisms can I say? Oh, for sure. Ooh, HeroMarine. I think he might be thinking this medevac is still out here. He's absolutely right. And he is going to catch it. Ooh, the lift up. Oh! Clem, how? How did he get out of there? You got to keep running away, right? Oh, he's waiting here. He wants a cheeky lock on. He gets the double lock on, but he's got to run away. Oh, and the vision over top of the vision blocker here. Helping HeroMarine out, gets one of those cyclones. Clem knows this is coming. He is down on tanks, 3-5. Oh my God, HeroMarine. He's got 4 tanks with this push right now. Clem needs to be very well prepared for this, and I don't know if he's well prepared enough. Auto turrets going down for Clem, but the shutdowns on Clem's tanks is maybe too much. There's a couple of shutdowns on HeroMarine's tanks, but it still feels like Gabe might just be too big here. 14 SCVs going down, and while Clem might be able to hold with these tanks that are sieged up here, he's taken so much damage. HeroMarine is now significantly further ahead. And it looks like HeroMarine's going to keep the pressure on. It looks like he was going to pull back for a second there. But he realizes Clem is hurt. He's like a hurt animal. Oh, what? Pick up and drop out micro is fancy, but not quite fancy enough. Clem's able to keep the tank alive. Trying to move around, get the tanks into a good position. HeroMarine now decides, maybe backing up is the way to go. Clem going to stim forward with a few Marines. It's literally just 3 Marines, though. Not really going to be able to get much done. Clem had the Viking lead there for a second, but he lost it. He is able to push HeroMarine back, but it's 56 to 72 SCVs. That worker lead is so heavily in the favor of HeroMarine. He's been mining more, and he's going to keep mining more. This looks like a heartbeat monitor. How does that happen? Beep. Beep. It's the heartbeat of the game. Oh, and HeroMarine trying to figure out how he wants to close this game out that he's so far ahead in. I will say the army supply is very similar. Clem's +1, or his 1-1, yeah, is way behind HeroMarine's, though. So that 1-1 could be a big boost to HeroMarine's army in a little bit here. But the triple medevac doom drop, there's like, what, 2 tanks in here? And a good group of Marines. Clem is completely unprepared for this. Not a tank or a turret at all in the main. He's going to pull the SCVs, but this is already getting so much damage done here. One of the tanks is very low. I don't think it's low enough for this to be an easy cleanup for Clem. He's trying to get into the main, but it's a bottleneck at the top of the ramp. HeroMarine already getting so much damage done. It's just going to try to take as good of a trade as he can. 10 SCVs going down. The SCVs getting the surround, and Citizens arresting that siege tank. But in the meantime, we've got a little drop down here as well. Clem losing more workers when he's already at a worker deficit. And, I mean, look at that army supply, 35 to 65. It felt like maybe that was an okay trade for Clem, but it just wasn't. And now HeroMarine's pushing with a second army. He just has so much more. The scan goes down, sees that the 4th base is on location, but doesn't see that this army is running into his natural. Forces a cancel on that base immediately. More SCVs going down. Clem struggling to handle this. There's 3 siege tanks on the low ground as well, so he can't just run into this willy-nilly. He absolutely has to handle this cautiously, but he's losing siege tanks. The lift up into the medevacs. HeroMarine dominating this game. Oh my God, there's nothing here to support these tanks. They unsiege, but the Marines win this fight handily, and HeroMarine wins that game handily, tying us up, bringing us to a game 3. Damn. What a beautiful, beautiful game. This series is already so good. What a TVT. I love that these guys are both pretty aggressive too. Like, we're not seeing like cheeses or anything necessarily, but they're not afraid to push with those early game units. They're not afraid to get a medevac out first and just try to get across, get some damage done, chip down their opponent. And we're seeing that from both sides. Like, the moment HeroMarine felt like it was a good time to put some pressure on, he was there. He was there. He couldn't bust the front. All right, let's lift a bunch of stuff up into medevacs and get across the map, get into his main. Constantly keeping that pressure on, constantly trying to take and win fights. I hope that you guys are like, man, Clem is too good. Like, well, Gabe is too good. It's kind of the fun thing about watching the series between these two is I feel like it's rarely ever clear. You know, it always feels like they're both scrapping for every single advantage they can find. And nothing feels easy between these two. It always feels hard fought. It always feels like whoever won it earned it because, man, they just crunch it out. And I hope we see more of that in Game 3. I have a feeling it's going to be just as good. Spawning in the upper right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we've got the Blue Terran for Team Liquid, Clement. His opponent in the lower left. He is the largest, the biggest, and the most magnificent of the Gabes. It's HeroMarine. We're all tied up. I think the beauty of it is HeroMarine is that like super solid player. He is just so consistent. It's really hard to find, like, there's no easy weakness in Gabe's play. It's the way he plays. He plays so that there's no easy weakness. You have to beat him straight up. I'm sure he's lost his fair amount of games to cheeses, but I have a feeling it's significantly less than a lot of other players. And there's not like a build order win, generally speaking, against HeroMarine. You're not likely to find it. He's one of those players where busting him down with something like that is really difficult. Showtime's another player like that. I think Cyril, for a long time, has been that kind of player too. They play such a solid style that really the way to beat them, you kind of have to beat them straight up. Or you really have to fool them somehow. Clem plays a little more, generally I feel like he plays a little more off the cuff, where he might bust out something cheeky, but overall he is very solid. I think Clem is maybe more likely to go for a risky play than HeroMarine. You know, we saw HeroMarine do the big triple drop last game. That honestly, that wasn't risky. It wasn't risky at all. He was way ahead when he did that. It was a way to like help push that advantage even further, but it wasn't risky. He could have boosted away if he felt like he needed to. He knew Clem's army was pretty small and couldn't cover his main and his third at the same time. So it was maybe a very slight risk, very calculated from HeroMarine. Clem, I feel like Clem's more the kind of player that would take the risk. He could have the defense in his main. He could be ready for this. He could kill the medevacs. Clem would go for it anyways. And that can be such an advantage, and it can also absolutely lose you games. I've seen plenty of Doom drops just get absolutely slaughtered, and the game pretty much just ends there. But I think if you have a good game sense, Beyond is another player that I feel like I would say has a really strong game sense and will go for those risks if he feels like it's the way to go. You can end up winning a lot more games that way. But it's tough because you can't be predictable. You can't be predictable unless you play Gabe style. Like, Clem doesn't need to scan him to know that he's building these units. This is pretty standard. It's very standard. And it's Gabe. So Gabe can be predictable. He's allowed to be predictable because he's playing this style. I don't know. It's just fun to see different play styles interact. Different people interact in terms of their gameplay. You see how Clem's going for 5 Reapers and 3 Hellions? He's going to push across the map and try to get something done. Meanwhile, HeroMarine went into a quick Cyclone and Marines. Different play styles. Cyclone here is obviously the big daddy, but the rest of the units of HeroMarine don't really do all that well, so losing that Cyclone's a little bit painful. Clem really hasn't lost any of these units. He lost a single unit? What? It's illegal. You can't do that. How? I mean, okay, granted, these Hellions are all very low. The Reapers heal up. HeroMarine's going to send a Reaper across, but Clem's here with a Cyclone and follow-up Marines. There's another Cyclone for HeroMarine. He is way down on units, though. I feel like if these Hellions stay on the back lines, stay alive a little bit longer, oh, it could be very good. The tank is out, but there's enough units here for Clem. He's just going to target it down, then he's going to take the Cyclone down, and I think Clem's just going to win this game. Is this it? So many SCVs being pulled, but only 4 going down. Not the biggest deal for Gabe. Definitely a good victory for Clem, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought for sure it was going to be 10, 12 SCVs getting taken down here. But it's not over yet. There's no more auto-turn energy, and that's it. HeroMarine just doesn't have the units. I thought he held it, but he just doesn't have anything out yet that can actually push that away. And Clem takes like a 5-6 minute game 3. Man, what a wild game.